I'm a Mog. Half man, half dog. I'm my own best friend.
And with that, welcome back to Vibes the Crowd. I'm your host, Austin. I'm surrounded by my 4 best friends, Cam, Chris, Tony, and Zach.
Hola.
And I thought it'd be a really fun topic to kind of open it up about aliens.
Aliens.
Which I thought was so wild because last year, 2020, was just, as we all know, abysmal. To put
There
it
was
lightly.
diseases, there was murder hornets, and there was, I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens.
And apparently, they released real true footage of a UFO, and no one cared. No one cared.
Yeah, what the heck?
Like,
But
we
I mean-
got murder hornets, we got an epidemic,
People have been
or a
trying.
pandemic, not an epidemic.
I mean, the same thing,
Is it?
kind of.
Yeah.
People have been saying, though, for
Pandemic made an
years
epidemic.
that video of the Tic Tac, like, they were trying to prove that it was real, and everyone's like, yeah, it's not real, and the people are like, yeah, it is. And then the Pentagon's like, actually, it is real, we can verify, and we have no idea what it was.
Yeah.
Creepy.
But supposedly they have those kind of instances a lot
Oh, they have to. They're all over the place.
on
So,
that in
aliens?
that particular area.
What? No, I mean, like, we have, how many planes do we have in the sky at one time? Like, we have ships all over
At
the
least
ocean.
10.
Like,
True.
We're watching a lot of the planet all at the same time. So
More than
we're
10,
definitely going to
less
see
than
stuff.
a million.
Right? More than 10, less than a million. I think
that
you're
correct?
right. I mean,
Yeah.
That's a good
you
estimate.
could be wrong, actually.
Could there be
I mean,
a
there's
million?
definitely less than a million.
I mean, I don't know.
How many little
Drones?
prop planes and drones?
I
And
mean, you count them all up.
Less
could
than
be
a million.
Close, man. I don't know.
China's got at least 800,000 alone.
For sure.
China.
For sure.
Thanks for piping in, Zach.
Cancel.
Freaking aliens.
Yeah, aliens.
I've believed in aliens ever since I was little.
Like, you still believe in them?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not a reason there's not that.
Now, as
I mean,
far
there's
as like,
reasons.
as far as like little men abducting people, that type of thing, a small part of me actually still does believe in that too.
Oh, you lost me.
But life outside of Earth, absolutely.
Oh, 100% life out of Earth. Abductions? Yes, I do believe in that.
I don't know.
Really?
Yes.
I think that's a lot of mushrooms, is what that is.
Yeah, there's definitely drugs that make you think that'll happen.
Well,
yes.
There was this one time when I was little, my sister came into,
Drugs?
I mean,
I was right there with you.
I already talked about in a
Oh,
previous
wow.
episode how she sniffed gas. So, I mean, could be.
A little experimental, huh?
Sorry, sis.
Don't worry, I already
just like
questioned
the
her on that.
smash. This is the way he throws you under the bus to make him look like the better child.
But this was before that. This was when she was probably junior high age. She woke us all up and had us walk outside and walk to the end of the cul-de-sac that we lived on and look at this star in the sky because it was flashing really weird colors, and she swore on everything it was a UFO. And I don't know what it was. It never moved, but it really was flashing all kinds of colors. I think if I had to guess today, it was probably a planet when, you know, at the right time of the year, they get real bright and everything.
Different gases and
twinkle.
stuff.
Or
Yeah.
a dying star with solar flares. Yeah.
Could be.
Seen
But
that.
Or it
she
could have
was
just been a
adamant.
satellite.
Well, it wasn't moving, though. Like satellites, you can see them slowly coast
Yeah.
across the sky.
They're not super bright.
No.
So, like, what colors was it flashing? Like,
was
multiple
flashing-
colors or same color?
Like I mean, this was so long ago, it's hard to say, but I remember like a purple and a blue for sure. And I want to say there was a green, but green, I could be wrong. But at least for sure, purple and blue.
Weird.
I have a story that I thought was a UFO shining a light in our window, in the window of our bedroom. And my dad goes running out there, and it ended up being a helicopter that was crashing. Do you remember back?
Oh, man.
way back
Wow.
when that helicopter pilot crashed out by Antelope Island. You know,
I think I do, actually. I
don't.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
So my dad, we saw the light flashing in our windows and it was moving around. And my dad goes out there with one of those big, the cop flashlights, the mag lights.
the mag lights,
Yeah. The mag lights. And he's out there. with mag light going like this, and then we found out the next day the helicopter crashed, and so to this day it's a running joke that he's the one who crashed him by blinding him.
Come in, you're good.
Awesome.
You're good. You're good.
Nobody died though, so it's okay.
You got about 12 feet.
You're an idiot. Go with what you feel. So really what sparked this idea, I mean, obviously the releasing of the footage was huge, but
Yeah.
really it was kind of, in a weird way, swept under the rug because of everything else going on, which I don't know why that didn't cause mass hysteria.
So was it the Tic Tac video
Yeah.
that was talked about last year then?
from the
Yeah.
cockpit of the
Okay.
Now, here's the
Exactly.
thing. I haven't seen it.
Oh boy.
I haven't actually seen the
boy.
video, but I've just heard that it was released. I'm like, how is this not like...
Well, it's been floating around for a while,
Yeah.
but it's just the Pentagon finally admitted that it is real
Okay,
and
so...
that they're taking it serious. Like they're actually looking for stuff.
Okay, so they didn't release anything yet. They didn't release the footage. They just released
The footage
information.
Yeah, because the footage had gotten out
Okay.
and it's been around, but people have debated for years whether or not it was real.
Okay.
Can I add
And
a
they
point?
finally kind of said, yes, it is.
And then to add a point to that too, it actually is pretty common to where the U.S. military actually has a no fire order when they see something like that, and they just go into observation mode.
Could you imagine if they did just open fire, though?
We'd be
They
dead.
would have lost.
Well,
Have you
for
seen
us-
Battleship?
Well, there's a rumored story that in Russia there was an airplane that encountered a similar Tic Tac thing flying, and they actually fired at it and were blown out of the sky. So, I mean, if the thing can hold still and it doesn't have any propulsion system that we know of, what makes you think they're gonna have weapons that we
Yeah,
can
right.
combat with? So they
Just
have
vaporize you. Just
So yeah, they actually have a ceasefire order when they see something like that and just observe.
Heck
That's
yeah, you never
crazy.
start a fight you
Is
can't
that-
finish.
is that U.S. or anywhere? Or-
U.S.
I mean, I feel like that'd be Earthlings.
Good rule of thumb. If we have people here from other, galaxies,
We
far,
won't
far
hurt
away.
you because we know you'll win.
Unless you take on Will Smith.
So here, let's do this. Can we throw this video up on the screen for those that are tuning in on YouTube? I
Oh,
would love to
yeah.
watch this. I don't want to try and describe it as we're watching it because, like I said, I've never seen this. I just heard that it was released.
See for yourself, fellas
Yeah, I'm
ladies.
excited.
and ladies, fellow
Whoever's
Fellow
here,
Crowd.
enjoy.
It's our crowd.
fellow crowd,
Exactly.
fellow crowd.
The best part about this is this should be public domain, right? Because this is
I hope
official
so.
footage, so we shouldn't get hit
It
with
says it
copyright.
right there.
To the Stars Academy of Arts. Okay.
Just skip that part.
And science.
Okay. Fleur 1?
Oh yeah, they now call them unidentified aerial phenomena.
Yeah,
Okay.
UAPs.
Dumb.
I like it.
UAP sounds like some kind of transmitted disease.
But the pilot who saw it was actually in a F-18 Hornet, and yeah.
All right. So for those of you that are tuning in through the actual podcast, it's actually finally getting into the show. There was a little bit of mumble jumble there at the beginning.
It's very high definition.
Yeah, looks like it.
Right, you
What was this
thinking-
filmed on a Nokia
It's
3310?
I mean,
an F-18. I don't know if you know that model,
F-18 in 2004.
but that's actually their locking. So the radar, it was actively blocking radar.
Okay.
So yeah, it was and I one thing I remember watching this video where the pilot was describing chasing this thing and how hard it was because they on the screen it's a touch screen and they could tap on it to try to chase it.
Here's the video.
Okay. So you're kind of looking at like a
It's an infrared
grayscale
display.
infrared display,
Yeah.
and they're just chasing this white dot.
That's actually their locking system. So
That's
they
their
could-
locking system?
Yeah. And he's just flashing through the
There
different
he found
modes.
it.
Okay. Oh yeah, it does look like a Tic Tac on the side, huh?
Mm-hmm.
It's just dark. Okay.
Is it moving?
So they're flying.
Yeah.
I mean, so it is moving.
Yeah. Well, the
Okay.
thing is, like they were trying to lock onto it, and it was difficult because the thing was moving so quick and it was so small.
Now, does it give any sort of speed relativity there on the screen? Like, does it say how fast the plane is flying that's chasing or observing this?
I can't remember if this. I know
They're going at least 20 miles an hour.
a lot more than
brisk-
that just to stay in the air.
A brisk walk, in the air.
Like Chris said at the beginning, somewhere between 20 miles an hour and 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Gotcha.
Well, I have another video.
Seeing it booked.
So this one's just kind of showing like the footage itself of like what they saw.
But at the very end right there, did you see how it just all of a sudden just... That's so
Yep.
fast for it to be able to just take off like that.
Exactly.
For the radar not to even be able to
basically
keep
just
up.
ditched them like they were nothing. Now this is a video basically talking to one of the pilots about the event. And so this will describe it a little better.
Okay. Now this probably is copyrighted, so we may have to fast forward just so we don't get hit with copyright because this is
History Channel.
History Channel. So
This is good for you at least.
yeah, we can we'll at least throw a link down to this clip down in the description so you guys can check it out.
This is
You see?
Colonel David Fravor. This is his. And his isn't... He didn't record... David Fravor didn't record the incident, but this is all visual eyewitness.
Okay.
But this is the most fascinating.
So where in the world was this? Does it say?
Near Ensenada, so
Yeah.
they're down like California,
Okay.
Mexico.
Okay.
Yep.
All the weird stuff happens near Mexico.
But
Why Mexico?
but what they were doing, they were going on a routine... Unless you just want to watch it.
No, go for it.
So they were going on a routine training
Exercise?
and they actually training exercise, and they actually got called off the training exercise because one of the
sent
destroyers got on their radar a blip, and so they called them off of their training exercise to go investigate this.
to go and observe.
Yep. And they're
Interesting.
And there's two planes, and so what happened is they see on the water. Do you know what white water is? So like when the water comes crashing in and there's something below it, how it starts toppling over white watering.
Yeah.
They're on a bluebird day. There's no wind or anything, and everything's blue. And then they look down and they see in the shape of a cross, white water underneath the ocean surface is what they see.
What?
Yeah. And they said there's no way because there's no white caps or anything. It's just right in this area. And it's the shape of the cross, in the shape of a cross. And so he looks down and they see the Tic Tac down there. And I think they're at 20,000 feet at this point. And so he says, I'm going in. And his wingman, I forgot her name, but she's with them. And she actually stays at altitude as he comes down in to look at this thing.
So he descends down
He
to get
descends
closer
down
pick.
to look at the Tic Tac. And he's getting in, and he's saying it's right here. And as he's coming down in, well, what they do is they do a C-shaped maneuver. I think it's like a half S is what they call it. But they come in around, and he actually tries to cut the gap because it's coming this way as he's coming in that way, so he can cut it off to C.
Got you. So he's trying to basically
Cut it off, kind of.
Yeah.
To get a closer look. But he says he got within a half mile, and the thing is the half mile seems like a long distance, but it really isn't when it comes down to, aviation.
Oh yeah, not
They
at
say
all.
you can see a pilot, they can see everything, a lot of detail with the plane. He said it's just pure white, nothing to it. They didn't see, there's actually like antenna that looks like it comes down off the bottom of it, but he couldn't see because he was above it. And like I said, his wingman's staying up here, and he's coming down, and he comes down to meet it, and it just takes off. And he's like, where is it? I lost it. And the wingman, she's like, yeah, I don't see it either. So it just magically just disappeared.
Just
Gone.
gone, huh?
But then they got a message from that. I think it was from the same destroyer.
Yeah.
Saying that it was back
Yeah, I think it was
where the destroyer was.
No. It ended up back to where their waypoint was to meet up. So what they do when they do their training exercises is one fighter comes here, another fighter. It's like I was listening to a podcast where he was talking about it. And when they do these training exercises, it's like a football field. So one person goes to one end zone, the other goes to the other end zone, and then they just come at each other when they're doing their training. Well, this thing appeared at where his waypoint was to meet up. How it knew it, what that was it, they don't know. But the crazy thing too is anytime you actively jam a radar from a fighter plane, it's an act of war to the U.S. So it's just kind of crazy how this all happened.
Basically, it's almost like it was messing with them because they could tell it had the capability to peace out at any moment. Like there was no way they could keep up with it. And so it was just kind of screwing with them. It was just flying around, letting them chase it. And then it's just like, just disappears.
Well, he says at one point too, when they were up there, that he said, like, he explained it like hunting deer. If you're a distance away from a deer, but it knows you there, it's still going to just continue eating, continue grazing, whatever. And that's what it was doing. As soon as he started engaging to go down to it, it was like, okay, it's go time.
Yeah.
And then it's just started counteracting what he was doing. And then as he tried to cut the gap, it just zipped out and it was
Peaced
gone.
out, huh?
But then
Could you keep that rolling? I'm kind of curious. We don't need to describe what's going on. I just kind of want to see more of what's going on because that's crazy.
And it was a USS
Nimitz.
It's probably like teenage aliens that stole their parents' ship, and it's just
Going
they're
out for a joyride. Gonna get home, get a ruthless chewing out,
Did you go and mess with Earthlings again? You did, didn't you?
Watch, it's Jesus in this cross-shaped
Oh yeah,
ship.
see? So it's describing, but this was just all eyewitness account of it. Like he just saw it with his own eyes. They didn't actually get anything.
That's great. So it actively jammed their radar then.
Yes, it was actively jamming the radar. Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm just making sure that I understand everything about it because this is just so wild to me.
And he explains that they knew it was actively jamming the radar because their radar is designed to give you like error signals and everything telling you, hey, I'm being jammed.
So this was filmed. This particular moment was from 2004, or was that the pill?
In
shoot?
2004.
They're talking about this happening in 2004.
Okay, that's great. So that was 16 years ago, 17 years ago.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
To understand the cross thing, was it like hovering above the water then?
No,
and
it's
it's
under
hovering
the water.
Under the water. So
Yeah,
the white
it was
water.
causing the waves.
Interesting.
So
Also, like the waves were like it was just under it enough that the waves were just crashing on top of it.
Yeah, it was just causing
Gotcha.
that friction or whatever.
Right.
To where it was losing.
Okay.
that's crazy.
Well, here's a quote for you. If aliens are on this planet, they're likely using the ocean as a place to hide.
Well, he
Well,
said
of course.
that. David
Oh, is that?
David Fravor said that, yeah, because he's like, it's the most unexplored area on Earth. So if you
Yeah.
were not wanting to be known or seen, where would you go?
That makes sense.
But they thought it was a helicopter at first. But then the way it was moving, so a helicopter, when it goes back and forth, it has a pivot and then it has to slowly slow and then it stops. And
Yeah.
with this, it was just going.
Just jerk, like almost jerking
Yeah.
around. That's crazy.
Yeah.
What if it's
Wow.
Atlanteans?
Huh?
What if it's Atlanteans? They're coming up from under the ocean, from Atlantis.
Maybe they were aliens all along.
That's some shenanigans. I like it. Because, yeah.
I mean, do you think the reason why this didn't cause crazy hysteria is because of the fact that this is such old footage? Like, it's 17 years old. You know what I mean? So is the fact that it's so old, is that the reason why it's not making people panic?
It's just that it's so old and people are they're like, we've seen it before. Everyone debated whether or not it was real. And so they're like, okay.
I look at it
Like
like,
they've kind of come to grips with it already.
and do you think, this is kind of my philosophy on it too, is either there's people that believe or people who don't. And so there's the people that are like, oh yeah, we already knew. And then there's the other people who are like, yeah, whatever. It could be misidentified or whatever. You know what I mean?
It's like Bigfoot. There's new sightings of Bigfoot that come up every so often, but people are just like, meh. Like, until you actually have him standing there. Same thing with aliens. Until you actually have a ship right there. And I don't know.
Now, I'm going to ask, when was the first time you guys actually became interested in aliens? Obviously, none of us are like passionate about it, but I think we all are pretty collectively intrigued by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think as a child when freaking crop circles started popping up.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
No, I just remember my summer nights just laying in the grass with some friends. We just stare at the sky, looking for anything.
Just wondering.
Yep.
So I had a couple experiences. One of them was a movie. It's the movie Fire in the Sky.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen it?
Oh, yeah, dude.
So supposedly it's based on a true story.
That's like the hardest to deny like story of an abduction.
Right? So the story, and it's been forever since I've seen it, so correct me where I'm wrong, but these lumberjackers are...
Lumberjacks?
Thank you.
What do lumberjackers do? I'm curious.
Lumberjacking.
They jack lumber.
That's something I ordered, apparently.
You know, honey, just jacking that lumber.
Anyway, one of them, gosh, see, now I'm trying to remember. He got singled off somehow.
They were loggers,
Uh-huh.
lumberjacks, and they were in Arizona, I believe. They were leaving the forest that night, like this place they were clearing, and they saw this strange blue like light.
Oh, they did all see it.
They all saw it, and there's like 7 of them in this truck. They all see this light, and so they stop and they're looking at it, and the one guy gets out
That's right.
and walks out into the field like inspecting it, and blue light beam hits him, picks him up, and starts pulling him into the ship. Dudes all freak out and take off.
Yeah.
Peace out on the guy.
And then that's right, because then he's missing for a few days, right?
5 days.
5 days. Mm-hmm.
And like they went to the police and they formed this massive search party. To this day, it's the biggest search party that was ever used to find somebody in Arizona.
That's crazy. Yeah, so he's gone for 5 days. Finally, at least in the movie, I don't know how it played out in real life. Finally, his wife or brother, it's either his wife or brother, gets a phone call, and he's just very like a choked up sound, just kind of mumbly sounds. And they're sitting there, and they're, whatever his name is, we'll just call him John. They're like, John, is that you? John. And they're like trying to hear him. So then they go driving out. They end up finding him at a gas station. This is after hours. Everything's dark, and he's kind of huddled up in the corner of this gas station on the outside, and he's naked, and he's just curled up, kind of fetal position, just shaking. And so they get him, have him checked out by a doctor. Everything's fine, but he's just, you can tell he's just messed up. And then as the days kind of continue, he kind of starts to come back to normal. Well, in the movie, as he's back and they're interviewing him, asking him what happened, he keeps having these flashbacks, and the flashbacks terrified me as a kid because it was
they were so scary,
so realistic. Like the way they portrayed the aliens, they looked like little old men, like 3-4 feet tall. They kind of had this white grayish skin. They didn't have the big head with the big eyes like they're normally portrayed. They had a bigger head, but their eyes were just these little black eyes. And oh man, and it shows some of the experiments they did on him, and it shows the inside of the ship. And it wasn't like, it was sci-fi, but it was so realistic. And this movie, though, it was from that point I was like, heck yeah, aliens exist. Holy crap.
I remember that. I remember watching it with my dad, but his name was Travis.
Okay.
Travis Walton. But yeah, he says in his flashbacks, he remembers he awoke inside a slimy cocoon.
Yep.
And he broke out of its membrane, and he finds himself in a zero gravity environment inside of a cylindrical enclosure whose walls contain other similar cocoons. And he is horrified to inadvertently discover that one contains the decomposing remains of a human body. So as he makes his way around the neighboring area, he sees many humanoid spacesuits. And he's apprehended by 2 extraterrestrial creatures. He is unwillingly hauled down the corridors full of terrestrial, like, detritus? I have no idea what that means.
Detritus?
Detritus? I don't know. Oh, I guess as shoes and keys before, like, all kinds of just random crap, apparently. He goes into this, they take him into this, like, examination room. And this is kind of where that, like, that that cliche of being abducted and like getting anal probed and like all that crazy stuff
He
comes
didn't have
from.
he didn't have a scratch on him, but he got hemorrhoids. I don't know what happened.
Well, the scene in the movie on this part, this is where it like got me because they lay him on this, they lay him on the table and they put this like blanket over him completely. So head to toe, he's completely covered by this blanket. Well, then this like mist comes down over the blanket and suddenly it like suctions over him.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
it's like he's almost like vacuum sealed.
It's freaking weird.
And so he's like screaming because now he can't move, he can't breathe. This thing's over him. You see his face kind of underneath. Then they come up with like a scalpel type thing. They cut a slit over his mouth, but then they put this goop that it looks like grease. Like it looks like almost like axle grease or something. They fill his mouth with it so he can't scream.
They like clamped his jaw open.
Yeah. Then they cut another slit over one of his eyes, so his one eye is now exposed, and this machine, this probe thing comes down and a needle starts to come out of it.
Yup.
Yeah.
Yep. Where do you think it's going?
And the needle gets smaller and smaller, and it doesn't show it, but you obviously know where it's headed. And he can't move. He's screaming. He's got this grease in his mouth. I mean, the whole scene is like traumatic. It's crazy. And
When
in the
did
meantime,
you watch this?
when I was too
Dude,
young.
I watched it when I was a kid too.
Yeah. My family was
What?
watching it, and I happened to be sitting in there too.
Yep.
And I was like,
I actually
You
remember
said-
I was terrified of aliens probably right after that. And
Yeah.
like there were some nights I couldn't go to sleep because I thought they were going to come abduct me.
Now you said this was based on a true story.
yeah.
So was this guy found with a slit in his eye?
He was
No.
found
They didn't
naked.
slit his eye. They slit the cover.
The cover.
That
So like they vacuum sealed him. Oh. And then they cut an opening in it.
Oh,
so
but
he-
they did put clamps on his eye to hold his eye open. So
And his
kind of like
mouth.
when you're having LASIK surgery, that type of clamp. They had a clamp over his eye and a clamp over his mouth so he couldn't close them.
Well, and they originally thought that this was going to be a murder investigation when the 6 dudes were like, he was abducted.
Oh,
They're
that's
like,
right.
You just killed him and stuffed him in a hole somewhere.
Yep. They all had to go through lie detectors. Like
And all of them were proven to be telling the truth, except the one guy was too emotional, and so it was inconclusive, and they kind of suspected him of being the actual murderer.
Yeah, but they couldn't explain it, but all of them went through lie detectors talking about the blue light, how it all played out, and then they're like, and then he was just gone. I can't explain it. That's all I can tell you. And everything panned out. Like they were like, these guys don't know what happened.
Now, is he still alive? Like, is this guy still around?
Let's see. Isn't Travis Walton? He was at an international UFO Congress in Phoenix in 2019.
Oh wow. Huh. And when did you say this happened?
This is
It happened in 1975.
Wow. Okay. That's crazy.
So I got a
you need to
question.
see it though.
Oh, it's wild.
So
It's-
When was the
movie's
movie
wild.
made?
I think
90s.
the 90s, yeah. It came out 1993. Fire in the Sky.
It's so good. Highly recommend it.
So if there are aliens, do you think it's more going to play out like Independence Day, or do you think it's going to play out like E.T. or what's that encounter?
Mars Attacks.
No, that's the one. That's how it goes. That would be in the.
Or Coneheads, one of the two.
Right.
But that would be in the Independence Day scenario, and then there's the other one like the E.T. where they're just observing.
Or what's that one older movie? Close Encounters
Close
of the
encounter
Third.
of the weird kind,
yeah.
of third kind, not the weird kind. But the third kind.
Or it could pan out like Star Wars or Star Trek.
Heck yeah! That'd be dope.
Honestly,
I'll find a Klingon.
my opinion is that if aliens exist in that sense, like fire in the sky, that type, I could see them using us for study, but they don't want to waste their time with like taking over us because I feel like their technology is even more advanced than movies play out. I feel like if they wanted to, they could just kill us off, and it
I
wouldn't
feel
even.
like they wouldn't need to do that.
But what was if they wanted our resources?
You straight up could just go to a hospital and like steal stuff. You know what I
What?
mean? Like, why would an advanced civilization need to like probe us anally?
Honestly, I could see
pleasure.
Study.
the
I
human.
mean, like, yeah, like if you have the technology, you shouldn't need to do that. You can just like get
it's
it.
pronounced anal.
Sorry, anally.
Anal?
Anally.
No, I could see it honestly. The human body puts off so much energy. I could see aliens finding a way to run their technology off of the human
Like the
body.
Matrix.
I mean, but
so
there's-
they use
there's
us as
gotta
a
be-
battery.
There's got to be way more
Weird.
efficient forms of energy than us.
That's the thing.
It's
I agree.
true.
Like
right?
we consume a lot of energy in order to output the
And
energy.
again, I go back to my original thing. I could see him studying us out of pure curiosity, but to actually be doing it for, sinister reasons or planning to take over, that type of thing, I doubt it.
See,
Here, well, let me get my point real quick. I don't think there's going to be any sort of doomsday thing, and here's the reason: if aliens are here, they are far more advanced than we could ever dream of, which means that they should be able to generate their own resources that they would need before ever needing to take over another planet,
Okay.
right? Like,
I'm on board with
but,
you.
But you got to think though, like, what sets the Earth apart from all of the planets that are around us?
Water.
Water's a big thing, but what else? Like, what other
it's
natural
habitable.
resources?
The sun.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, like, no, like legit. Like,
Like
I know it's kind of a
carbon-based?
joke because you think of like cowboys versus aliens and aliens.
Carbon-based.
Gold. Like, there's gold. Like, there are materials on this Earth that you can't find on other planets anywhere nearby us.
Kind of going
Elements and stuff like that.
going to the movie Signs, M. Night Shyamalan's Signs with Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
In that movie, the little boy, he's reading a book about aliens and everything, and it was saying that they've used up their own sources of their natural elements of their planet, so they're here to harvest ours. I don't know.
Yeah, I just have a
That's
hard
the thing.
time believing that, because if they are here, like, they obviously have something that we don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we might have something that they need, and to them, we're just cattle in the way of it.
Well,
Yeah.
I've got an interesting point that may change, but since we developed nuclear technology, the encounters and like sightings have massively increased. So what if they're just like, oh, how close are these guys to being able to come after people or come after?
It's kind of like what is it in the Avengers when the Destroyer and Thor comes down, and so now Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. wants to use that technology to build weapons and whatnot, and Thor makes the comment that you're just showing the other galaxies and other beings that now Earth is a competitor. I don't know, but no, I was gonna say I keep referencing movies. It's what I know, but like think of like Man of Steel, Superman.
He's an alien.
They had to leave Krypton because they were using the core of their planet for energy, and now they've burnt the core out so much that the planet itself explodes.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
So here's actually someone put a theory out there that based on yours. It says they're actually protecting us from ourselves. It says the first nuclear weapon test was in July 16 of 1945 at a bombing range in New Mexico. The Roswell UFO incident was on July 7th, 1947 in Carrizozo, New Mexico. The distance between locations is 123 kilometers. They detected our use of fission and were coming to warn us of the dangers. Since then, most UFO sightings are at the nuclear test facilities, and eyewitness military personnel have reported that they have shut down nuclear warheads mid-flight.
Oh yeah. So my dad's actually like pretty much. He's pretty into aliens.
Nice.
You know what? I can totally see
Dude,
it.
and it's so funny. Like
I can
he
totally
knows
see it.
quite a bit of stuff. Like he watches Ancient Aliens and just he dabbles in it just because it's interesting. But he was telling me that we actually conducted a test to launch a nuke into space and see what would happen. And basically, every time we launched it into space, it was somehow disabled. and we never got one to detonate. And there's like eyewitnesses and I don't know if there's full video of it, but they witnessed something flying near it, flying by it, like something always around it when it would just stop working and
Gotta
just
be quicker than
float. Yeah, it's just floating around in space, but we never got it to detonate. So something was
So
like
what if-
stopping it.
So what if aliens are watching humans and Earth like we're a child?
We're the
know?
monkeys,
totally.
man.
We're monkeys. Exactly. They're watching us. Just hang on. Let's just see what they do. Like just
Oh, stop them. Stop them.
oh, they're about to put
That's
that
not a
fork
good
in the
thing.
light
They're gonna do
socket.
that thing. Don't let them do that thing again.
Hold on. Let's see where this goes.
Okay, no.
So what,
Nobody
what
knows
if
about it.
what if it's Jesus and he's just like, nah.
Yep.
And then he's flying around in his
That's what I
little,
think.
so he's flying around his little cross-shaped spaceship. Just
I think his spaceship would be like a fishing boat.
that would be dope.
Here's another theory to play on to that. What if UFO sightings like that they're here to protect us, what if they're actually just us from the future?
I've heard
And
that too.
We have figured
I've
out
heard that.
time travel, and we're on a. So this one says that they're on a time traveling safari meant to observe, something like that. But what if we figured out time travel in the future?
That would be dope.
And we've learned that maybe there's timelines, and if that bomb goes off in outer space, we are setting ourselves up for a detrimental timeline that could kill Earth within so many years after that.
Yeah.
What's the
like-
point of setting off a nuclear bomb in outer space anyway?
I've
Study,
heard.
Watch it
scientific
burn.
study. See,
I've
what,
heard
it,
that
see
if-
what it does, see what effects it has.
I've heard if a nuclear
Who
bomb
knows?
goes off outside of the atmosphere, that it would act like an EMP, and it would just
Why-
wipe
That's like
everything out.
upper atmosphere.
I've heard they want to see what it does in a zero gravity
vacuum?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
be
honestly
weird.
would be
Straight up is just the scientists who are like, what'll happen if we do this?
It
Think
literally
of the
sends
five
our
of us.
Earth off
Science.
course.
Yeah, it just like knocks us out and we're all dead. Like, great.
Yeah, what if it does? What if it knocks us
Knocks
off our lunar
poles off,
rotation?
completely switches the atmosphere and all that stuff.
That's why the five of us don't have a nuclear launch button right here, because we'd be, you push it.
I've always wanted to push
we
it.
would all push it. We'd be, ah!
Collectively.
So pretty.
It'd be like Baby Groot, and it's like, I'm Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot.
My dad always taught me like in a way of it. He's like, because you hear about the miracles and everything performed by Christ and all that. He's like, God's just the ultimate scientist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like go back,
I believe it.
go back to the beginning of time. Somebody saw a gun, that'd be magic to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But also, I've always going off that topic, like when Jesus turns water into wine, like it's literally a chemical change, and he's basically the ultimate, like he's God, like he has command over the elements and everything, atoms and whatnot, and so he could just tell it how to work.
Yeah.
But like even talking about aliens, though, I don't know if I fully believe that there are aliens, because it blows my mind that there would be none within the known universe that we have explored, because we've explored a crap ton of stuff and not found anything.
Maybe
But-
we're looking in the wrong place.
But
True.
we've also thought we've explored the entire ocean. How much of the ocean
Oh
has
no,
been
I
observed?
don't
by-
think we've ever thought
5%?
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
But that's my point, is we think we've explored a lot of outer space, but we haven't even explored our own oceans.
but I mean, like not even a single planet in our own solar
See,
system.
I think.
Well, they
I
just
think-
found an Earth too. What was that? No more than like 5 years
yeah,
ago?
they found one that said that could
a habitable one.
hold
Yeah.
carbon-based life form. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
Oh, so, but think about this too. Our galaxy is massive.
Yup.
We're only one galaxy upon billions and millions of galaxies. There's
Like
so much
quadrillions.
Yeah, there's so much space out there, and then you've got
nuts.
beyond that. That's beyond formed universes. That hasn't even formed I mean, we can't even fathom how much space there is out
Well,
there.
see, that's what I was going to say. We've got those super cameras that can take pictures of things light years away, but you still have to figure you can only point it in one direction and shoot. You can't like scan.
Well,
You know?
and
Well, but I
like,
mean, like-
even being off a fraction of of a degree, you're going to get a completely different part of the observable
Exactly.
universe.
You'll get a whole
Well, yeah,
different
but even
galaxy.
still, like radio waves and all the things that we've put out there, like why is no one answered?
Because they're
Maybe
ashamed of us.
They're so far away.
I was gonna say I actually read something on that. And there's an idea that we just haven't given it enough time. They're so far away. Maybe our voice has reached somewhere, and we're just
We're pissing off the aliens for generations later.
you know because
Oh yeah,
you
It's
think
coming.
about it. We've been putting our voice out there for only 60 years now. That's not a lot of time.
No.
Like in the grand scheme of things, that's not a lot of time. Maybe we have, like Tony said, maybe we've reached someone, and 100 years from now, they're going to finally reach us and be like, all right, you guys need to shut up.
So like we got the Tesla. That was good.
that was
You
nice.
guys,
Thanks for that,
Tesla
guys.
was
Thanks for
good.
that roaster, guys.
Who was that guy?
Well,
Who
I
was he?
honestly believe that most UFO things are actually just man-made craft being
Tests?
tested.
I don't know.
But
So what better way-
how would you explain the pill then?
What better way to test your technology, your super secret technology, than trying to see if people just notice it?
So what about in Roswell?
Roswell.
The very first sighting in Roswell. Did you?
The crash.
It was
Yeah.
1940, 1945 or whatever. There was a crash. Guy and one of his neighbors, they're farmers. They go out and check it out. They pick up this metal. They're feeling it, and they're like, "This is weird." Well, it hits local news, and all of a sudden now it's a weather balloon that crashed. A local reporter goes in and tries to do a report on it. Or not local, it was a reporter from somewhere. He tries to go and report on it. Well, now everybody's been hushed by the government, and lips are sealed, all this stuff. You are not allowed to talk about it. 20 years, 30 years down the road, finally, lips are becoming loose. They're talking a little bit. And they talked to one guy who was actually over the head of collecting the material for it and stuff like that. And he said, the material that we gathered, I can promise you, was not from this earth. He said it was too light and too durable to not be from this earth at the time that we discovered
I think the government came out with that statement too, saying that they have materials that are not of this earth, or crafted materials or something.
As
that
after
degree.
they talked about the pill and stuff, they
Yeah.
said they do have materials that are not of this earth, but literally that just
They're all,
is
it's a rock.
it's a rock that didn't come from
But
the
you
earth.
just said crafted materials.
That's that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they said crafted materials,
Yeah,
not
metals.
Of this, yeah.
I don't
So
know
if it's
that.
crafted, that means it's been worked on. Like metals and different things from other planets is not unusual to me, because I mean they say they find weird metals in little asteroids that and whatnot. But if it's crafted, if it's actually shaped, then I don't know.
And it may have been another word, but it was something similar to that. It was crafted or built material, something. You should look it up.
Could you expand? Could you look up a little bit on Roswell and kind of expand on that? I'm kind of curious. I've actually never looked into Roswell.
Oh,
Yeah, Roswell's like one of the big.
it's one of the
first
biggest
sightings.
ones.
Yeah,
That's why
definitely.
I mean
It's one everybody's heard about, but
I don't think anyone can hear the name Roswell and not think aliens.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like it's they're one and the same now.
See, and the hard thing about this is this is why I hate the government. They are way too secretive.
Canceled.
You don't say.
Well, and who knows? Maybe they have created this, type of metal or something like this. And,
That's what I'm saying.
maybe they're shooting it out into space and then it
Something-
comes flying back in just out of
Yeah.
pure orbit and
crash. I don't know, but that's the hard thing is it's
Well, but
if the
also other
government would
governments.
stop being so transparent, or other
Start
governments,
being
or
transparent?
start being. Yeah, sorry.
I have my issues with government, but at the same time, there is good reason for some things to be classified.
Yeah.
It's a chess game with other nations that are
that, but also
and national
like
security. I think it needs to
Yeah.
be.
You know what just came crashing
Panic.
into my mind was was it last year? No, it had to have been 2 years ago. Do you remember when that thing went viral on Facebook where people were going to infiltrate Roswell? New Mexico?
yes, dude, that was
No,
so
that was Area
funny.
51.
Area 51.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
That is
I
in
thought
Which
Roswell,
is
though.
it's near Roswell.
Okay, but yeah, did anything actually ever come of that? Because there
No,
were
it's not.
supposed to be like
No.
millions
Is
of
it not?
people
Sure.
that
It's
were
in
SVP'd.
Nevada. Sorry, Area 50.
Oh wait, maybe you're right.
I thought it was on the
No, they're not the same.
Oh, sorry.
No, I don't care.
Yeah, Area 51's
Area
in Nevada.
51's
but
in
no, yeah, I
Nevada.
do remember that. Well, do you guys know that we have like a semi-secret Air Force base in Utah that they actually call Area 52.
Oh, I didn't know that. I knew we had a secret base.
We got secret stuff out near Dugway and all that
That's
as
it.
well.
Dugway.
Dugway is Area 52. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
is it?
dude.
Oh, yeah.
That,
If you go-
it's the name.
If you go down there and get too close, they will
where's Dugway?
come after you.
It's way
Past Twilla.
You have to go,
out
way,
that way.
way past
Gotcha.
Twilla.
West Desert area.
It's just all, yeah. I camped out there once. My dad had gone camping out there, and we met him out there. And
Was
we
he
were
camping or was he observing?
probably observing. Who
He's
knows?
like, aliens.
But we were sitting there, and you could see Dugway and their runway, and like they were sending drones out and stuff.
Yeah.
But so I have my own alien experience.
Oh no.
It was
Okay.
weird.
Let's hear it.
So-
I'm excited.
Me and my buddy, we were hanging out in my backyard, just like doing a fire pit one night, and we're just sitting there, just chilling. And this friend of mine he's very fascinated with like military planes and like military technology and stuff, but he's a very like down to earth, chill dude, like doesn't really believe in aliens or anything like that. Well, we're just sitting there staring up at the sky. We're like bored, just kind of talking. All of a sudden, he sits up and like stares intently into the sky, and he's like looking back and forth. And I'm like, bro, you okay? He's like, I don't know what I just saw. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I was staring off into the distance in the sky, and then all of a sudden I saw this like kind of triangular shape, kind of a grayish hue, and like some lights or something. And it was almost like it was flying towards us. And at first I thought it was just a plane, and I was trying to figure out what kind of plane it would be. But then as it was coming towards us, it all of a sudden just turned and zipped off the other direction, like wicked fast. And like I could tell from his expression and the way he was talking about it, like he definitely thought he saw something, and it was tripping him out. He wouldn't stop talking about it. Well, the next day, he's like searching the internet just to see if anyone has posted anything in the area and whatnot. And he sends me this like forum where someone else had got on in the same area near us. And they're like, did anyone see such and such last night around this time going this way or here? And he's like, bro, I told you I wasn't lying. I told you I saw something. And so he's all jazzed about it. Well, he has a friend who works at Dugway, and he just starts like messaging him, and he's like, hey, I just have some questions with you, about any, I don't know, maybe there's some like secret-ish technology that's going on out there. Maybe some drones with some sort of like cloaking or something like that. And this friend of his is like, well, I mean, I can't talk about anything, but like, I mean, I'm not saying it's real. But like kind of like alluding to things like that, like not saying anything outright, but
Not saying it's real.
exactly.
But I'm just saying.
But like kind of like, hey, I mean, it's possible, like, you never know. And like there is technology that we have ourselves where, for example, some jets, they have cameras along the bottom of the jet, and in the pilot's HUD that's on through their goggles, it actually displays what is below the plane. So they literally can look down through the plane and look wherever they look, they can see like the plane's not there. It's what is outside. And so he basically is speculating that what he saw was some sort of plane that was, not making noise, could move rather quickly, but had some sort of active cloaking to where it was showing on the bottom of the plane what was above the plane.
They have that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so like he doesn't think it was aliens, but he knows whatever it is not current technology that people know about.
Well, and that technology is actually becoming more public because they have active camo on like tanks and stuff, right?
Yeah. They have, I think I showed you one. There was this British tank
Yeah.
where they have active like camo on the side in a way that they can control like the heat signature.
Right.
And so they can make it look like a car
Yeah.
Yeah.
or like a dog, or they could put words on it, like whatever they wanted to.
That's crazy.
So when radar sees it, they just see like they had it displayed as like, hello.
I
Tag,
see
you're
you.
in.
It's just the letters I, C, and then you. Just
Saw
like
you first.
So the whole like my whole oh my gosh, my whole fascination with aliens kind of started when I was young. Like my favorite movie was Flight of the Navigator. Did you guys ever see that?
Oh yes, I loved that movie.
Dude, that movie was super
The
rad.
dude got into like the big silver thing, and it.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember.
Oh,
I
yeah.
did love that movie.
That movie was incredible. So that was one of my passions, but one memory really sticks out, and it was my grandma and I, my grandma Karen, we were in her 4Runner heading down south to St. George, down to her house. And I just remember we were on the long stretch of road, and we were probably listening to some, 90s country at the time, probably like Toby Keith or Reba McEntire or something like that.
Shania Twain.
Shania Twain,
Garth Brooks.
and I just remember we were just cruising, and there was this bright light that was coming in the rear view window, and like the sun was setting somewhere else.
Probably in the west.
Yeah, but
You don't say.
you don't say.
Well played,
But the
sir.
rear window could have been facing the west.
Yeah.
Is what I'm getting at. Anyway, so we're but this bright burning ball of light or something is coming in through the rear of the 4Runner. And I just remember like watching it, and I'm like, what is that thing? And I remember kind of getting scared, and my grandma was like, I don't know what it is. And so we just kind of just kept going because we didn't know what the heck else to do. Well, anyway, we ended up getting to her house, and we ended up turning on the news, and the entire time we're driving, we're like, gosh, is that aliens? Like I don't know what that is. And we get there and we turn on the news, and turns out it was like this comet that was coming in, crashing into like Utah, but it didn't, I don't know if it like just burned up in the atmosphere and that's what we were witnessing or what, but I just remember being terrified.
Dude. That's weird.
So fast forward, and I'm going to school at Weber State University. I take an astronomy class, and we're, studying asteroids, we're studying the observable universe and all this crazy stuff. And my mind has never been more blown in any class than in that one, because you're learning exactly how small we are as a planet and as a race
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things. Like, it is crazy. I'm sure we've all seen those videos of Earth being compared to like
The sun.
Jupiter,
Dude, it
and
hurts my
Mars,
mind. It
and then
hurts
the
my
sun.
brain so much.
Oh yeah, and you just keep seeing Earth just get smaller and
you're just
smaller
like,
and smaller.
Stop it. Stop it.
And so I just remember being in there, and he's like, yeah, there's 100,000 million stars in the observable universe. And you're just like, when you think of that number, you can't help but be like, there's got to be life out there somewhere, right? Like,
Well-
the odds of us being the only ones that can't be. And how depressing would that be if we were the only ones in the grand, you know what I mean? Like, don't you hope deep
I
down?
was gonna say, I heard a quote somewhere where it's like, is it more terrifying to think that we're not alone or that we are alone?
Yeah.
You know?
Like, that's scary.
Yeah,
Like, I
don't
would
know.
much rather hope that there's life elsewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a lot of space to be alone.
I almost wonder though, like I've had this thought, like what if it's that we are kind of alone here, but there's more dimensions. I've thought that. Like there's
alternate
different
universes?
alternate realities and universes, and that's where more like beings are.
Yeah. So here's a beautiful picture that was kind of painted in my mind when I was in astronomy, and this still blows my mind when I think about it. So there are so many stars in our observable universe that when you look up at the night sky, you would think no matter where you looked, the sky would just be white. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you take one of those crazy telescopes and you point it at a black square in the sky that there looks like there's no star. Have you seen what happens when you do that?
No.
Connect the
Oh
dots.
wait, no, actually I have. Yes, I have.
If you find the darkest square in the sky and you zoom in with a telescope and take a long exposure, when you develop that, all you see are hundreds of millions of galaxies. So basically,
It's
Like
nuts.
galaxies, not
Yeah.
stars,
Oh,
but
yeah.
galaxies.
Here, let me give you a frame of reference.
So that's
That's a picture from the Hubble telescope.
can you
Just at a
show
dark
them
spot.
the dark spot, like how big it is in our actual like line of sight? Do you know what I mean?
I do, but I don't know if it has it. That's so freaking.
Because that's the picture from the zoomed in shot.
Yeah.
So because you see the original and you see all the stars and you're like, and this little itty bitty square that's just black. They zoom in on that and that's what you get.
Yeah.
And those are galaxies.
Those are galaxies.
Crazy.
So here's the idea, right? There's so many stars out there that literally at nighttime, our sky should be white.
Yep.
Because no matter where you look, no matter where you point, there should be a star. Because there's so many that if you keep going, you'll eventually hit a star, no matter where you point in the sky.
Yeah.
So the idea is the universe is so young and so large that the light hasn't had a chance to get from there to here. That's how big our universe is.
Yeah.
Oh, here you go. There's a small little video that shows it.
So right there next to the moon.
So, and there's 70 invisible galaxies in that tiny, tiny spot.
Look at that.
I hate it. It makes my head hurt.
I love it. I
That's
think it's-
crazy. So that's like,
So the reason why the whole sky isn't lit up white is because of timing, basically.
it's
Well,
just
they're
because
so
of time.
far away, yeah.
They're so
Reach
far
us
away
yet.
that
Yeah.
the light literally hasn't gotten here.
Like we're seeing each one as it's
We could be
developed,
seeing
so
we could
it's-
be seeing planets that are long dead,
Oh, yeah.
destroyed, stars that are gone.
Yeah.
Well, don't they say that the sun itself, the light we're seeing, is already like
It's 8 minutes in the past.
okay? That's
Takes
what
8
it is.
minutes for light
Yeah.
to reach us from the sun.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So if the sun blew up, it would take us 8 minutes to find out.
So that picture, you're actually seeing the light coming towards you.
Yeah.
And you're just seeing it with the telescope because it's further out.
yeah.
It's
Dude,
impressive.
space blows my mind.
It's so cool.
It's insane. So I mean, I do agree. Like it's hard to, because the other thing that blows my mind is the fact that the universe itself. They said it's expanding. But what is it expanding into? It is the universe.
Well, that's just it too. Like, what happens if you hit the end of the universe?
How is there an end? Like,
I don't think there is an end.
They
how
actually
can
say
there not be an end?
they actually say there is an end, but it's
feel like-
so
Who the freak knows?
but it's so far and so big that you don't realize it because your end would actually just be you correcting.
So it's like we're getting lost in the forest.
yeah.
You'd just be eventually like curving around a super giant.
Well, so what if the end
Area.
is kind of back on like what Cam said, alternate realities? What if the end is you jumping now and now you're in a different void altogether?
Dude.
I don't know.
See Men in Black, we're all in lockers.
We're all we're
on a
marbles.
marble.
We're marbles.
Yeah, marbles.
The second one, there
Yeah.
shuts the locker
Oh,
door,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So
You're right.
insane. Like it kills me.
That's the same thing with time. Time's infinite. There's no beginning, no end to time.
Yeah.
We can't comprehend that with
Yeah.
a human brain.
We got our human brains on, and they don't work good.
You know what? There was I love like mental pictures, things that you can actually fathom. One way that I've heard of explaining eternity is think of a rock the size of the earth and a bird is flying around it and once a year goes down and pecks the earth. Right?
Uh-huh.
Just to help, just to give your mind like a picture or an image, right? By the time that bird pecked the earth enough to destroy it, that would be just the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Ew.
It's
You know
so
what I mean?
cool.
Like that's the idea of eternity.
yeah.
When you think of the grand scheme of things.
That's like trying to put a moment to eternity.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive. I like that. It's so cool to me.
Insane.
Like once a
This
year.
kind of stuff.
Like,
wanna go-
he's
See-
like,
That makes no sense. That is,
I want to go stare at the stars now.
I know, me too, dude. I do love
Where's that
astronomy and
place?
stars and all that stuff.
There's a place, and I want to say it's here in Utah, where there's literally they have zoned it that it's a zoned area specifically for astronomy study, and there is not allowed to be a single light within a certain radius.
That's Bryce Canyon.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's just down south.
Yeah. And and it's like law that you cannot have any
that-
kind of light because
light pollution gets in
astronomers
the
will
way.
astronomers use that area to study because literally it just lights everything up.
I've got a place closer to home we can go that's pitch black. And you're on
Yeah.
the top of a mountain dome ridge, and
Yeah.
I think one of the best places I've been to that's like that was Lake Powell. When we went down there, you could see everything.
The bummer behind the one time Jess and I went down to Bryce Canyon, we wanted to do the astronomy tour, and the time that we went, it was like super overcast. It didn't even matter. You couldn't have observed.
Dang.
Yeah, it was so
I
See,
thought I
and
saw. I was gonna say I thought I saw UFOs in Lake Powell. Speaking of Lake Powell,
Probably.
we were laying on top of right. We were laying on top of the houseboat and watching the sky, and there were these two, and they kind of doing like a figure eight type thing. They were both weaving in and out of each other, not flying in any particular pattern, just kind of zooming around. Then all of a sudden, just blink of an eye, and they were gone. It was cool.
Dude, it's so weird. I mean, I kind of think it would be a lot like Star Trek. I honestly don't think they're that far off. Because, like, you think of, like, there's the movie. Can't remember. I think it's First Contact. But essentially, these alien races are so far advanced that a lot of them might have a policy, like in Star Trek, where you don't mess with them. If they called them pre-warp because the warp was how they could, make craft that would fly around the space and whatnot. But their collective policy was like, if there's a civilization on a planet that's pre-warp, we don't interact with them.
oh yeah,
You let them develop naturally and see what happens.
Oh.
Once they reached warp capabilities, that's when like the Vulcans and stuff like came down. They're like, hey, you're not alone. Good job. Welcome to the team.
So it's like because I haven't watched the old episodes of Star Trek, but I've seen the new ones with Chris Pine. So in the second one, I think it's the second one, with that, it starts out and he's on that planet with all the red trees, and the race is like painted white and they've got the black guys.
I think that's the third
That's
one.
the third one.
Third one, okay, where he freezes the volcano.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he saves the planet, but in the end he ends up getting in trouble because now he's just shown his shit
Yep.
to these
Broke
natives.
the prime directive.
Yeah. So okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Because it's a tribal primitive civilization, and he saved them, which according to the prime directive, he shouldn't have. He needs to let nature of that planet just take course.
Yeah.
So on that note, we have hieroglyphics showing signs of extraterrestrial life.
Oh yeah, dude! In multiple places,
In multiple
not
places.
just in Egypt, but like Aztec temples and
Do
stuff
you
like
think
that.
we had a Chris Pine situation?
Dude, I have
Chris
no freaking idea.
It was Chris Pine from the future.
There's a lot of like compelling evidence. There really is. But I
And it's like,
don't
I mean,
know.
you saying Egypt, the pyramids themselves, there's that rumor that they were built by aliens or built by humans guided by aliens.
Yeah. Freaking Stargate.
Yeah. I
What if
love
we
that
find
movie.
a Stargate, dude?
There's a lot of weird coincidences about the pyramids of Egypt, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like their
The
location.
perfection in the measurements is insane.
But also, isn't there like something crazy unique about their actual geographical
Well,
position?
they're,
on
they're
the Earth?
perfectly lined up with certain
Yes.
stars in the sky.
I remember seeing something where it talked about their length, like the size of them, where they're sitting, and like all these numbers that like corresponded in this crazy
and
way.
the stones themselves, that particular stone isn't located anywhere near where they're built. And back then they had no way of transporting them. So how did they get that type of stone from the nearest place it's located to where the pyramids are at?
but I
That's
heard
crazy, dude.
logs. They rolled them
It
over
was
logs. They
Just logs, lots and lots
rolled
of
them over logs.
Here's one of them. So it's
That
what
sounds
is it?
extremely inconvenient.
It is, but when you don't have diesel fuel, what are you gonna do?
and they wanted to line them up with the stars in that particular spot. So
I don't know.
That's wild,
It
dude.
is fascinating.
I want to do a deep dive on more specific alien
Events.
events and stuff, because this, like, it's been a long time since I've talked aliens.
Oh yeah. So going back to what you said about the location. So the Great Pyramid of Giza, the exact coordinates are 29.9792458 degrees north, which by itself means very little. But, however, the strange thing is that people have noticed that light travels at a speed of 299,792,458 meters per second.
Coincidence.
The exact same number.
That's crazy.
What? So yeah, going back on that, think of that. How fast is light again? Say that again.
798 billion, just over.
Wait, what?
Oh, how?
Oh, sorry, no,
number
I
you
read,
just-
I read that wrong. 299,792,498 meters per
Meters
second.
per second. Now think, there's light that is yet to hit the Earth.
Yeah.
Yup.
That's how big the universe is,
freaking-
dude.
Is that,
That
moving
is
that fast? It
insanity.
still hasn't hit here yet.
It's crazy.
That is insanity.
Oh yeah, there's also the Great Pyramid of Giza is in fact, it is aligned true north.
So
okay.
that's
True
that
north.
can't be
I
true.
can't remember. It is.
A line
What?
true north.
One of the most famous aspects of the Great Pyramid of Giza is the fact that it is aligned true north.
As far as corner to corner.
I'm not sure what it means by that one.
It's got like on the Earth, it like points. It's like
Yeah, right.
that way.
I wonder if it points straight at like the North Star. Like straight
Well, that's what I've heard is that the three pyramids point at three stars in the sky.
That's where they live.
All right, we're gonna do a deep dive on this in a future episode because I really want to get into like
That'd be
the
cool.
crazy subtopics of aliens. I feel like there's a lot there, a
Well,
lot
there's
of meat.
more for you.
Yeah.
So remember how we've talked about Skinwalker Ranch before?
Yeah.
Oh,
A little
yeah.
bit. A lot of the occurrences there are extraterrestrial,
No way.
not just like
Not just
skinwalkers
supernatural.
or supernatural. It's extraterrestrial, like freaky stuff.
So, real quick, out of everyone here at the table, does everyone here believe in aliens or does someone not?
I mean, I it's still up for debate because to me, there's no definitive proof that they exist, but no definitive proof that they don't.
Okay.
I believe in them. I'd like 100%.
I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I do because I'm still on the fence of I think a lot of things we see are just man-made things that are secret, but I do think there's some things that are very unexplained and can't be.
Even if they haven't came to this earth, do you think there is life out
Well,
there?
the other aspect is religious. If I believe in a God that is all powerful and created the entire universe, do I believe in little green men? No.
You don't have to believe. They could be like us, though. Just
That's
on
the
a
thing
different
is
planet.
if I do believe from a little religious standpoint, if aliens exist, they will look exactly like us. They would be humans.
But they don't have to be, right?
If I believe, I mean, based on a belief in God, they have to be because
That
I
he
believe that
created
we are
us in his own
created in
image.
God's image.
Yeah.
So if he created everyone, they would all be in his
But
image.
does is God's image truly like, are we a reflection of him or
Yes.
is because like he could be,
But then we would look like that.
So I had this thought.
So then you wouldn't believe that we're in his image. But in the Bible, it does say like we are created in God's image.
So I had this thought, and I don't know if this
So, like
is
two
like,
arms, two legs.
Oh, what
kind
about
of things.
image of his mind?
I guess we'll have to ask.
You know what I mean? Like you could think of something, you're created in the image of his mind. I just blew your
No.
mind, didn't I? He's gonna go home and be like, oh,
No.
he's not right. He can't be right.
That's not right.
His eyes twitching.
I'm just saying that. I don't know. I mean,
I think
I
that'd be
believe.
silly.
Have you looked at dinosaurs? Like those are silly, bro.
Were dinosaurs
there's-
on this planet?
I was about to say that. There's theories that dinosaurs didn't even roam this planet, that our planet was put together by pieces of other planet, and the fossils we find are actually from other planets.
What is this?
Yeah, I've heard that.
Okay, that's another podcast.
Dinosaurs.
that just
Were they
makes-
real?
That just makes me angry.
I mean, I don't believe that. I don't personally, but I've heard of that theory.
I want to
brother
come
believes
out of this with one of us
Who does?
believing
My
something
brother.
radically different than what we came in with. You know what I mean? Like, yep, I believe it now.
So see, I in that sense, I do believe there could be aliens, but I also don't believe that we're ever going to meet each other.
So I had this theory on the religion topic, and I hope I'm not wrong in my religion for thinking this way. I don't know if that makes sense, but so
You're going to hell.
So we're taught
It's just another planet.
that if we reach the highest level of heaven, that we can create our own planets and create our own worlds. So assuming that this plan has been laid into place forever, we'll just say, so our God at one point or another was on his own earth doing his own trials, made it to the highest level of heaven. Therefore, he could create his own planets and created us. So now flash forward to our time when we can now create planets. Obviously, there's going to be more than one of us going to the highest level of heaven, creating our own worlds. Therefore, I mean, you think there's going to be hundreds of, hopefully billions, assuming a lot of
Numbers we don't even know how to name.
right. Billions and billions of people who have lived on this planet going to the highest level of heaven, now creating their own worlds. Their own worlds are going to have humans, bodies, whatever you, I don't
Beings
know.
in our same
thank you.
image.
So you're all are making your own marbles.
Yes.
Essentially.
So with
My
that,
planet's going to come F your planet up.
so that's my point.
Just a
though.
planet? Just one planet?
Just one.
Okay.
So that's my point.
We'll
though,
start there.
Is so
Galactic chess.
our God, assuming that this plan has been laid out time and time again, if our God was on his own planet with a bunch of other beings of his kind, and they all have now branched out to create their own planets, could it be possible that their planets maybe have evolved faster than ours and have learned how to travel from wherever it is they're at to our area that our God has built? So
Or they've just been around longer.
and
So-
so in my head, you know, I still only believe in one God, that he created us, he created our universe, everything like that. But outside of our realm, could there be other gods that have created their own realms, and now their realms have figured out how to travel here, and those are the aliens we're seeing?
So you believe in one God, that's your God.
Right.
But then the other gods have worlds, and that's
So
their God.
essentially his siblings.
So in essence,
Yes.
you don't believe in just one God. You believe in multiple, but you only have one deity.
You only recognize
We
one
have
deity.
we have
Yes.
one. Like
So
we
that's-
came from this one specific God. Essentially, he is our eternal father.
Yes.
He's the one who
But do you
created us.
get what I'm
By
saying?
the way, this
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
We're talking Mormonism, LDS.
Yeah, specifically the
For
LDS
those that are
religion.
confused tuning in, because
Yeah. So yeah, in that we're taught that there's different levels of heaven. And if you reach the highest level of heaven, you can create your own worlds.
Well, and we are also taught like those levels essentially from the way it's taught seem to be planets.
yes.
Because you think of Earth itself,
is the
we believe that when Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden, Earth itself was in the same realm as God. And when they partook of the fruit, it was thrown out of that realm.
Earth was like
Yes.
the entire
Earth,
planet.
the entire planet.
so you guys become gods of a single planet or of a
No, you
universe.
can-
No. So it does say in our scriptures that God has worlds without number. So he himself.
So how you were talking, those galaxies way far off.
That's
that,
what it's expanding.
That's
planets
our God's creation.
out.
He's just continually growing this.
So, but that would be just one universe, right? You guys each get your own universe.
See,
so
that-
we're in one marble. You guys are going to create other
Again,
marbles.
this is completely like
I'm just curious.
speculation.
this is
complete and
this is
utter speculation.
built on faith here.
Deep doctrine.
Yeah.
Like deep doctrine.
We're going deep.
It's I
Deep
mean,
in the
but
doctrine.
honestly, still mostly speculation. Even
Yeah.
like yes, we for sure believe in the different kingdoms of glory where you could end up and that you could potentially become a god yourself. But we don't know how it works. We don't know. Like again, I bring up my like multiple universe thing. What if there is one universe, but there's different realms of that same universe, and that's where each god kind of creates their worlds. So there's realms without number in this giant universe. You know what I mean? Like there's so many possibilities that could be happening
and never going to be able to be comprehended.
until we ourselves die and we're like, oh, That's how it works.
I'm just because I was curious on the actual wording. Like, does it say world, universe,
It says worlds without number
worlds without number?
is what God has created, and He has created His children, us, in His own image, meaning a bipedal being with 2 arms, 10 fingers, 10 toes, eyes, nose, ears, mouth, everything.
It's interesting.
Because again, we believe the whole purpose that we're even on this earth is that we are here to receive a corporeal form, like a body, an actual body, being that we were spirits before, and that having that body and experiences and knowledge is what helps us be like God. Because imagine that you're a being, you have a physical form, and you create these beings that don't. Those beings have no way to be like you unless they also had a physical form. So that's why we believe we were put here, to get that physical form.
Got you.
See, and I'm just saying too, in that sense, so the aliens that we've seen, how some of them have been described, like the common one is the grays, that's the classic image of an alien.
Little shorties.
Yeah. It's like, what if a god somewhere else who created his own worlds without number created the grays? And now the grays are just so advanced, they've figured out how to come here to study us.
They go warp. They jump marbles.
But I feel like, I feel like
What if after
if
you
they all
die?
came from the same place, they wouldn't just create rando things. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Like if we were created in our God's image, wouldn't that mean that our God was created in His God's image, and like so on and so forth
not
through
necessarily,
eternity?
because maybe yes, but as like assuming I can make it there to where I can eventually make my own worlds and beings, am I going to create the beings to look like me?
Are you?
I might make them weird. I don't know. They're going to have like tentacles and no, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Like, why not? Why not?
But
man?
that's my point.
Just make
It's
them
like
creepy.
just
It's
get
like
weird with it,
It's
you
like
know?
a giant
Like,
game of StarCraft.
like,
what if our God had a little bit more imagination? That's why we're all so unique.
Drawing things out of a hat. What we got? 8 legs. Okay. This is gonna be interesting.
I'm just saying, you go look at dinosaurs. Some of them have spikes and spines, and wrecking ball for
See,
tails.
well, then
like, why not?
That one with the head, like how it headbutts you.
Like, why not? Why not? I'm just saying.
Stick a mullet.
I don't know, man. I feel like after you die, maybe you just get to like pick and mold.
I'm just
and-
saying, if dinosaurs were so great, why ain't they around still?
They had their time.
They got beat by a rock.
What's
We
going to
would
beat
too,
us?
to be honest.
We're
even,
still here.
Even in our advanced forms, we would be beat.
I saw Armageddon. Bruce Willis will save us all.
Don't bring that
Dinosaurs
up.
didn't
I'll,
have Bruce Willis.
I'll start crying right now. Don't bring that up.
I know, right?
Stay
away.
Just sleeping.
I don't want to close my eyes.
I love it. You made it country.
I did.
Yeah, that was kinda
I
like-
like it.
Into my roots. Boom.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but all I can say is just aliens.
This took a weird turn, a lot different than I was expecting, but I was along for the ride, and I
That's
hope you
the
guys
thing,
were
dude.
too.
Who knows how these things connect and interweave and like like we talked about, like Jesus was the ultimate scientist. I believe that he used just the power of the world. He just has it
Knowledge.
at his command.
Yeah.
It'll do what he wants it to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, branching off of like going back in our conversation, how we got here.
Let's not do that. Go backwards.
Play a game called Rewind.
You asked the question, at what point in our childhood did we get into aliens? We brought up Fire in the Sky,
Yeah.
and then somehow ended up here. We went from talking about the Tic Tac
Yeah.
to here. Like,
Dude,
I don't know. This
I'm
has
saying,
been
like, I feel like everything is way more connected than we realize.
Oh, yeah.
Or can
for
comprehend.
sure.
Oh yeah.
All I hope is that, like, when I die and get all the answers, I hope it's not like, well, that's it. Oh, like,
yeah,
I
you
hope
know
it's
there's
like,
gonna be something so
I hope it's a
stupid.
laid out plan where it's like, see, and you're like, oh wow, that's cool. Okay, like I have a feeling you're just gonna get up and be like, huh, Well, okay.
Could you imagine you die and you get this giant grand scheme of like web of like your life's travels, and you could almost like, you know how on Google Maps you can select a different route,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like in your heaven's eye, whatever you want to call it, you're like, I wonder what would have happened if I would have went here. Or, you know, like, and you select a different route.
It
And
like,
kind
play,
of
like plays it for you, and you're like, oh, bad decision.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to play that game because I would hate to click on a route that it would have been like, this route would have made you a billionaire. It's like, oh, like,
You mean I could have married Kate Beckinsale?
I should have invested in Bitcoin way ago. Way a long time
go
ago.
back and be like, let's invest here.
10 cents. Deal.
that is a interesting thought, though. It's like now that you literally can see the whole scheme of things, to even be able to see the whole scheme of your own life, every single choice you've made from birth to death, and every single route that choice would have taken. Could you imagine?
I tried stumping my dad with that when I was young. I was like, well, here's the thing. God gave us free agency, right? But he knows what choices we're going to make. Is that really free agency?
Yes.
And he says, okay. He says, well, here's the thing. God's all knowing, right? He goes, so God knows that if you make this choice, this choice, this choice, this choice, and then it branches out from those choices and that choices, he sees the whole picture, and you get to choose which piece you're going, where your piece is going. But he can see all the different outcomes from all of it.
It's like
and I was
those-
just like, whoa.
It's like those guess your own books. If you want it this way, go to page
Choose your
52.
own
If you,
adventure.
yeah,
Just
if
keep
you
your
want it this
finger
way,
on the
go to
last
40.
page every time.
Yeah.
So
Finger didn't come out. I'm going back.
He's just up there. He's like, I know all the routes you're going to go.
Oh, bad decision.
Please go this way.
Oh, you went that way.
Stop
Okay.
it. Stop it. He's just up there knocking
Good choice,
stuff over.
good
No,
choice.
don't do that.
okay, you
Flat
can-
tire. Ha ha. No, you can't do it.
Sushi at a gas station? Bad idea.
I'm telling you, he's got to have a sense of humor.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen giraffes? Come on.
I mean, right?
Ostriches?
I'm just saying it. No, I'm just-
Narwhals?
I've been saying every time I drop my peanut butter
narwhal.
toast and it lands peanut butter down. You know he's laughing.
Wait, what?
Drop your peanut butter toast and it lands peanut butter down.
Have you seen
Got
the
him.
theory? So peanut butter toast always lands peanut butter side down.
Yeah.
Cats always land on their feet. What if you put peanut butter toast, peanut butter side up on a cat's back and then
Who would
drop
win?
it? Who would win?
It would land on its side.
I saw this thing and they portrayed it in a video and the cat starts to flip and then it like develops this like wormhole.
There you go. Freaking black holes. What the heck is up with that crap?
That's a whole different.
Where's it going?
That's a whole nother category.
It's sucking in light and everything, and then where does it go?
To your alternate universe.
There you go. Maybe.
That's it.
You know, dark matter, they theorize exists because they can't prove it exists, but they think it exists because there's got to be something there.
Well, matter doesn't just disappear. It always is exchanged into a different type of energy. Whether it's energy, it's always displaced into something else. So dark matter, they say it goes somewhere and they
Dark
don't know where
matter
it's at. Or black holes.
matters.
So see, I even think like ghosts or spirits
Cancel.
are. I think that is just a different form, like of like material matter,
Wait,
Dark
say that
matter.
again?
like spirits.
Oh.
I think it's just a different form of matter.
You know, thinking of the like hundreds of billions of stars out there and we're waiting for its light to get us, thinking of black holes, it's just kind of like one of those
Maybe it's a
thoughts
shortcut.
that its light may not ever hit us because it'll hit a black hole and then it's like going down the toilet.
They've
Oh,
said
Oh, so close.
they've actually done scientific research on that, and a black hole, if light gets close enough to it, it can bend light.
that's what I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? That
it
is
does.
crazy.
It has a gravitational pull on light.
Which is weird.
On matter itself.
It's all weird, Chris.
I know. I love it.
I love it. and
I just
hate
want
it.
the answers.
I mean, look at Saturn. What's up with that hexagon on the top of it? What the freak?
What?
Yeah, dude, it's got a hexagon-shaped storm permanently on its north pole.
Get out of here.
Nope. I won't.
I got it. I got it.
Are you sure?
Okay, if you made it this far, down in the comments, I need you to let us know if there's anything alien-esque that you want us to touch on. Any subtopics
I would love to go
that
deep.
you would like to see us deep dive in. Because
Maybe put links up of videos. I'm always
seriously,
into
give us some hot links. I'm very interested.
I'm telling you, watch
Yeah.
the movie The Phenomenon. It's crazy.
No, Fire in the Sky.
That one too. But The Phenomenon is
that the one with
a
John
movie
Travolta?
that came out. No, Yes and no. That's phenomenon. Phenomenon?
Phenomenon.
This is the phenomenon. Yeah, seriously. That's how you feel after watching that movie with John Travolta.
I love that movie.
No, but it's a movie that came out last year after like the government kind of confirmed some stuff. And so they released things that people couldn't talk about before, including the guys who were around during that Roswell crash. And they actually tell more stuff than they were ever allowed to tell. It's wild.
All right. Well, we're going to do a deep dive on all that stuff.
Yeah.
And also, if you're still here, even after all that,
You
please
can
give
take
us
off
a
your
thumbs
seatbelt
up.
now.
Please give us 5 stars on other
Yes.
platforms. And if we made you laugh and you're new here and you're still around, you better hit that dang subscribe. We better see you here next week. Thank you so much for being part of this crowd, and we'll see you next time.
See you later.
Just remember, I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens.